Harrison, it's so great to see you.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited to chat with you.
Wow, Macabre Daily is honored that you would take the time and to send an advanced reader copy of Plain Nice. Let me get my chubby sausage fingers out of the way. Before I hit record, I was telling Rachel that this is my favorite of her novels to date, and that's saying something because Cackle, such sharp teeth, so thirsty, The Return. I hope you're not going to. Boy, I don't want to put my foot in my mouth immediately, but
do it.
Sure.
I'm from New Jersey. You can put your foot in your mouth all the time.
Oh, I don't care. New York, New Jersey. Okay, I feel better already. Yeah, we'll mix it up. I feel like your progression as a writer, you started out so strong with The Return. Don't get me wrong, but where we've come from 2020 to 2025, and I mean this is organic to authors. It's just you write. You craft your style, your signature style, which I feel like you very much have at this point, that now you pick up a Rachel Harrison novel and you know what you're getting stylistically, but it's always a surprise because you change on us novel to novel. So we come for the vibes, but we stay because it's a completely new experience. How purposeful is that? I mean, is it just organic that you just kind of get into a book and it takes you where you want to go, which is what I hear from a lot of authors? Or are you more of a plotter than a pantser?
I'm definitely more a pantser. I wish I was a plotter. I'm so organized in every other facet of my life that the fact that I can't outline a novel is kind of irritating. But it's very intentional when I start a new book. I need to challenge myself every time.
Okay.
And so I've been very strategic about, all right, what am I going to do that's different? And I think the biggest jump was probably from The Return to Cackle. And that was very strategic because I was like, my debut is kind of it's capital H horror. It's scary. It's a little bit gritty. And then Cackle is a little bit more whimsical and like, I didn't want to be stuck. I think if you write two books in a row that are similar, then your third book, if you veer too far off, people are like, wait a minute. So I wanted to kind of have that like tonal gap there.
Yeah.
And for Plain Nice, it was like, okay, well, how am I going to challenge myself? I'm going to do the book within a book format. I'm going to play with format. And with So Thirsty, it was like, I do a lot of like kind of big set piece novels. So I wanted to do like a road trip novel where they're like having to move and not staying in one place the whole time.
Yeah.
And so in that way, I am intentional about how I want to change it up. But in terms of like, this is going to happen and then this is going to happen, no, not so much.
All right. So you said that you wish you were more of a plotter, but is it more fun to write that way because you don't know where the story is going and it's like an archaeological dig. You're uncovering it kind of scare by scare, and the narrative is just leading you where you want to go. It's got to be kind of thrilling.
It can be, or it can be stressful, or it can be like, oh my gosh, where is this going? Is it getting away from me? I remember like halfway through So Thirsty, I had like a mini meltdown and I called my friend Christy DeMeester, who's also an author. She's very talented. And she was like, all right, we're going to like talk through it. She's like, all right, you're 30,000 words in. That sounds about right. And it was just like, and I was able to move forward thanks to her. But, I usually have a vague idea of where I see it, but I don't have the A to B. And because I don't have that, I can discover fun things in between. And that's the joy of writing. But with those high highs come those
low.
Yeah.
We as readers, we're only in it for the highs. You guys do all the hard yards and we get all the benefit from it. I have to ask you, I spoke with Grady Hendrix not that long ago about Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. And I just happened to ask him just kind of like off the cuff. I was just like, oh, how many revisions did you have to do? And he's like, I wrote the book 5 times. The book 5 times. It's like the first draft didn't even have witchcraft in it, And it blows my mind when I talk to such talented, creative people like yourself and all these authors that Macabre Daily is lucky enough to talk to. just the process alone seems so daunting and overwhelming. How do you control that? I love to figure out author by author how the sausage is made. What's your process? Like, when do you write? How often do you write?
So I'm full time writing now. So I write pretty much all day, every day. When I'm not thinking about it, when I'm not doing it, I'm thinking about it, or thinking about like, how do I promote this book? Or so like it's all consuming. Um, but I'm in like this groove now where I'm at the book a year point, and I'm trying to stay that way. And so I'm having a book come out ideally every like September, October. And so I I pitch that book usually around December, January. I write that book from February to May. And then usually I wait to get edits until the fall. And then I will have to do those edits in the fall to finish them by the end of the year. And then the following year, I'll have to do copy edits and page proofs. Luckily, I haven't had, knock wood, I'm waiting on edits right now. So I haven't had any major complete rewrites. With such sharp teeth, I had to go back in and like weave a character in. So that was a heavy lift. But I usually that's kind of how it's worked the past 3 times. So I'm hoping that this time it's more of the same. But it feels it feels like a job to me. Like it's still fun and it's still creative, but it feels like I'm in that like routine where it feels like a job.
Yeah.
Where, oh, this is our busy season. Like I feel like an accountant in April where I'm just like, oh, well, it's October. So,
Yeah, I got to get to it. Well, that's interesting. The work-life balance, when you're in the zone and you are really just grinding out pages, is it like shut the world out, or are you conscious of, hey, no, I have to have some fun. I've got to get out there and live a life.
I can't have fun if I know that there's work to be done. So if I'm on like a deadline, no, I don't usually go out or mix it up or have fun. When I'm on deadline and really grinding it out, I will like crawl out of my office and watch something stupid on TV to just turn my brain off. It's usually around like promotional season that I will like get out and start having fun. And the summer is a little bit slow for me. So that's when I will have it's like I'm the kind of person, when you turn in your homework, then you can relax. So that's how it is.
Where were you when I was younger? I needed that advice. That's good advice. Okay. We're definitely going to get into Play Nice, but I do want to ask you a little bit about, you are a tried and true horror author now. And honestly, one of the most exciting. Like I said earlier, everybody anticipates your novels, and they're just getting better and better and better. Were you always into horror growing up? Like, how did you land on it?
No, I was very sensitive, very afraid kid. I was a scaredy cat until I think until college is when I realized that I loved it. But I like talk about it. There's this moment in the movie Clueless where Cher has this like, I love Josh. Like I've been in love with him this whole time. It's like a very like big rom-com trope. And I describe my relationship.
I know it well.
I describe my relationship with horror like that, where I always thought like it makes me feel too much. Like I would see a VHS in Blockbuster and be like, it would traumatize me and I would be thinking about it for like a week. And so I thought, I can't watch that. I can't be near that. And then when I got to college, I was a screenwriting major. And my screenwriting club did a horror script contest. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, I have to participate. And so that's when I kind of really started to steep myself in the genre. And around that time, I had a roommate who was really into horror. And she showed me The Orphanage, which is an incredible movie. And it scared me so much. I had a panic attack. I had to stop watching. But then I woke up the next morning being like, I need to know what happens. And that film kind of showed me that horror actually has layers. It's not just the intention isn't just to scare you, that it can do work and tell different kind of stories. And so I'd seen horror movies before then. I'd read horror books before then, but that was the kind of like unlocking I Love Josh moment. And then, from then on out, it's been bliss.
Well, yeah, you deserve all the bliss. It's such a cliche, but horror is such a rich tapestry. And you're utilizing it so well and so effectively. I mean, we have witches and werewolves and vampires and demons and haunted houses. Now that you kind of have gravitated toward horror, and this is what for now in the foreseeable future, hopefully you're going to stay with.
Yeah.
I don't want to pigeonhole you, and we'll get to that, because you remind me so much of a very famous author, but I'm going to save it for the end. I'm going to save it for the end.
Yeah.
I'm getting over my skis. But you've leaned into all of these incredible horror tropes that everyone loves. Which is your favorite, and what have you not explored that you're dying to explore in the horror world?
It's interesting because they all have to come, like my ideas for my books all have to come twofold. It has to be the horror vehicle and the like deeper theme that I'm going to explore. So with Such Sharp Teeth, it was like, it's such a pain to exist in a body. I'm exhausted by this. And then werewolves. And with Cackle, it was thinking about agency and independence. And that was with witches. And so it's hard because like I would love to do like a cryptid story or like a lake monster story or something like that. But I need, until I can tap into like whatever I want to explore on like a soul level, on like an emotional level,
it's got to resonate.
It's not gonna click. So there's plenty of stuff that I want to explore. And my next novel is it's actually a trope I don't like. It's a time loop novel that's going to come out next year. But yeah, I was like, time loops stress me out so much. But like, so it wasn't a trope that I was like, I can't wait to explore like a time loop like horror. It was just, I have this idea and I want to tell it, and that's the right thing to tell it. So I want to do them. Like I want to catch them all.
So. And we want you to catch them all. Oh, I love hearing that. I mean, look, now you said no one likes a liar, and you said it out loud. I'm going to hold you to it. A Rachel Harrison cryptid novel. I mean, I'm like, come on. But I know there's only so many hours in a day.
I'll get there. I'm going to be around.
All right, good.
God willing.
All right. Let's talk about style. You mentioned it earlier how Return is gritty, Cackle is whimsical. I feel like Plain Nice, your novels as they progress, it's kind of an amalgam of all those earlier novels, and you do it so well, because there is, especially with Plain Nice, there is, I don't know if I'll call it whimsy to Cleo, but there's like an effortless cool, which I guess I'll spoil everything now and tell you what I was going to tell you previously. You remind me so much of Elmore Leonard, who's one of my favorite authors. And I'll tell you why. You write like and I mean this as a compliment, a wise ass so well, perfectly, that even though, the reader is reading along, and sometimes with Cleo, you're like, oh, why are you doing that? And oh, why are you saying that? And why do you feel that way? But you're charmed by the character. And Elmore Leonard had that same ability to take someone who honestly was kind of maybe like not a fully formed person, or maybe not the best person, and they had a lot of faults. But as you got to the middle of the novel, and even at the end, those faults sometimes became their greatest asset, or you were completely willing to overlook them because you maybe saw them in yourself. You gravitated toward the protagonist, and you loved him by the end, warts and all. You have that same uncanny ability where nothing is forced. It's so effortless. And and the stories and the genre is different. The stories couldn't be different, but you write incredibly cool characters, and you can't wait to go for a ride with them, no matter where it's going to take you. So my question, I promise there is a question in here. Mm-hmm. My question to you is, you write horror right now, but have you ever thought of writing crime fiction?
I Probably not, because then I would have to do research.
Okay. Who wants to do that? Gross.
I'm just like, ugh. I try and keep the research to a minimum because I'm not particularly good at it.
Okay.
And I'm just also like terrified of getting something wrong. And so I don't know if I could, maybe someday, but or like have a crime element.
Okay.
But it overwhelms me. The same with historical, where I'm like, I can't, like, it stresses me out.
That's daunting as hell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Historical. Okay. No, I'm with you on that. I feel like you're the heir apparent to really cool, like mid-70s crime fiction. But anyway, I'll leave it there.
I'll take it. I love that. Thank you.
Right? Oh no. I mean, I'm just absolute. I love your style. Love it. Anyway, let's talk about Play Nice. And let's get into that. I guess with Play Nice, the first place you start, before we get to haunted houses and demons, are the family dynamic. If you don't mind me asking, because it's a touch personal, do you have a large family, and are you the youngest?
No, I'm the middle child.
Oh, you're the Daphne.
I'm the Daphne. So my mom is one of 7 and my dad's one of 8.
Wow.
So and then I have an older brother who's like a year and a half older than me, and a sister who's 9 years younger.
Okay.
So, but I am growing up watching the 2 big families, and to see the differences in the 2 big families, and the sibling dynamics, and the sibling dynamics in my own family, especially because I was the youngest when I was a small child. And then there was this shift where I kind of grew up pretty fast, because now I had a baby sister, and it was the 90s. So, when she was 6 months old, my mom would go to the grocery store and we would stay home with her. And so, and I was also very mature and responsible. But I'm very aware of those dynamics and different, like, shifting dynamics. I spent a lot of times at friends' houses when I was growing up, and I've always been like an observer. So I pick up on a lot of those dynamics, and in my stories, I try and think about how people would behave, and the influence of sibling relationships, and how I think generally, like, if you're a middle child, you have XYZ traits, or if you're the youngest, you have these traits, and the eldest, there's some burdens there. So I think about how those things inform our personalities and who we are as people.
Okay.
I think about that a lot, and I find it fascinating. So there's a lot of that in this book.
You can tell that you're an observer. You can tell. I mean, it's so specific and it's so great, and it just really expands the novel. I would have bet every penny I have that you were the youngest in your family, because I'm the youngest, and boy, did you nail it. Boy, did you get it right. I mean, yeah. So the family dynamic, you know what? I stink at my job, Rachel. Let me explain, if you don't mind, unless you do it. I do want to explain what Play Nice is about. So we have Cleo is leading a essentially charmed life, living in Manhattan. Stylist and influencer, and really just getting after it and having a blast. Unfortunately, her mother, who the family is estranged from, the 3 sisters. So it's pronounced Lita, right?
Yes, Lita.
Lita, who's the oldest, Daphne, and then Cleo being the youngest. Their mother, Alexandra, dies, who they were estranged from. There was a divorce when they were all younger. They moved into a house that Alexandra said was haunted. None of the siblings really want to talk about it. Cleo, being the youngest, really doesn't have much of a memory of it, or does she? And the house was never sold. And Cleo says, I'm going to move in, and I'm going to fix it up, and we're going to sell it. And then that is where the story begins, because she also is given. Well, I'm sorry, Rachel. Wait, did she find, or is given?
She finds it. Yeah, she finds it in the house.
She finds it in the house. And then, of course, she's looking for the second part of it. And I'm not going to, no spoilers, but I was so furious, but no spoilers. But she's uncovering the history of the house, and really giving providing justice for her mother, who everyone says was an alcoholic and maybe had mental issues and was an awful mother and parent. And now the truth is kind of coming to light, and Cleo has to confront that of, you know, what do I believe? And as all of this is happening, she's in the house and is experiencing this entity. Ideal to me. I mean, it's so what you do from that point forward, and the subtle scares that are so, they land so hard you can hear, you could have heard the thud in New Jersey. You do such a brilliant job of unsettling the reader with a sentence. And it's just, I really enjoyed this novel, and it's so much fun reading it for those moments. Damn you, Rachel Harrison.
I'm so glad. I think it was easy. It was fun because having that book within a book element allowed me to kind of dial up the horror in a way that wasn't grounded. And so I try and ground all my novels as much as possible, since I write contemporary and I want the horror element to kind of be in the background to whatever the emotional through line is, and the character and the relationships. But in this book, because I have this book within a book where you're questioning, did this really happen? Is Alexandra embellishing? Whatever.
Yeah.
I was able to kind of go places that are a little bit crazier and a little bit more intense and a little bit more fun. And I was really inspired by Amityville. So I read Amityville Horror, which I had never read before. I'd seen the movies, and that book is so bananas. So it was really fun to kind of find the line between how much camp can I shove in here and how much is too much.
And you never go over the top. I mean, there's enough camp in there that it is such a fun time reading the book. But boy, oh boy, let me tell you something. People who pick it up and think they're just going to, I'm going to cruise through this and it's just going to be laughs and maybe like a little scary. There's gut punches of scares in this novel, and they just come at you. So let's talk about the scares for a little bit, because I'm always so curious. As far as the pacing goes, because some novels you pick it up and it's kind of like the box step, like dun 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 dun, dun scared, dun dun dun. That's not you. This is almost more like jazz. You never know where it's going to land. And I mean, what you do with just a smiley face, again, Rachel Harrison, you gave me some sleepless nights here, and I thank you for it. I definitely thank you.
You're very welcome.
But how do you meter it out, and are you conscious of almost like like a heart monitor, like beep, to hit those highs and keep the reader engaged? How challenging is that? Because you do it so well in this novel, and then we get to the end, forget it. I mean, again, I'm going to keep my big mouth shut because I don't want to spoil anything. But it's like we have these moments, and then they escalate, and then we get to the end, and it's such a rich payoff. But how do you do it?
I have to just be intuitive, and it has to feel right for the story that I'm telling, because if I'm trying to scare people, I'm not going to scare people.
I get that. Yeah.
It's different for everybody. And some people, I think I learned when I said I never rewrote one of my books. I never rewrote a book that I turned into my editor. A draft of Black Sheep I had to rewrite because it was after Cackle came out, and I was getting a little frustrated by people saying that it wasn't horror, that I'm not a horror writer, like kind of elbowing me out of the genre. And so I was like, I'm going to write a dark, scary, bleak novel and show everybody. And I wrote a draft, and it was just soulless, and it sucked. And I had to throw it out and start over. And I'm really proud of that book. But from that experience, I learned that I have to tune out the outside noise. Yeah. And even, I think Black Sheep has some kind of intense, dark moments, and people will still tag me and be like, it's cozy, it's cute. I'm just like, there's father-daughter cannibalism, but sure. So Like I had to kind of put all that out of my head and just write the best book that I can. And so it really needs to feel intuitive for me about like what is happening, where are the characters, where's the story going, what's going to keep the momentum, what's going to make this feel more intense. And usually the scares come when I'm trying to heighten the emotions
Yeah,
and not just because I'm looking for a scare, because I could write the scene that I think is the scariest scene that I've ever written. And like to somebody, they're just going to be like, meh. So
yeah,
I can't think about that and just really have to focus on like, how can I make my reader invested in this character and invested in this story?
that's the key.
Because
Yeah,
if the reader is like, ooh, what's going to happen to this character? Or if the character is afraid, I think that's another thing that I've learned. If the character is not doesn't feel like they're in mortal peril, the reader is not going to feel that fear. So I need to put the character in that headspace too, which can be tricky because a lot of times your characters don't know they're in a horror novel. So by the time they figure it out, like it's pretty far along. Um, so yeah, it's definitely, I have to just do it intuitively and sort of follow my gut and tune out the outside noise, that little voice that's being like, show everybody what you got.
I've got two questions for you. I'm so excited here. So the first being is is cozy. You know, I see cozy associated with your novels, and I'm like, yeah, they are cozy, but there's so many short stories and so many novels that are comfortable because we always start out when it's safe, or we shouldn't say always, but we often start out where it's safe. That's always cozy. It's always comfortable, and then things go horrifically sideways. So is cozy a bit of like a box for you? Do you view it that way or no?
I think so. So there is such a thing, I think, as cozy horror and
For
cozy
sure.
mystery. But for me, I think what people mean when they talk about my work is relatable. And
Yeah.
I think that the word gets interchanged. And I don't feel like once I write something, it's not for me to say what it is or that it isn't. The only thing that I'm conscious of is like my work. I do consider my work feminist, but when people say she writes feminist horror or she writes good feminist horror, it's like, no, I just write horror. So I think that's where I kind of get a little bit a little bit fussy about those like subgenre terms, just
Yeah.
because I want to be, I want my work to, it's a male dominated genre. I want my work to be spoken about in a way that like, you know, if you're not going to describe a male author's work as feminist, even if it has a female protagonist and it's
Yeah.
great, then don't use that word to describe, or just it feels like, I'm proud about what I write and I'm happy
Should
and
be.
I like to tell, women's stories and have that perspective. But at the same time, like I do feel like, you know, just I think we need to be careful about the language we use when we talk about people's work in general. But yeah, I get a little touchy about it, but that's just like me being fussy.
I'm really glad you brought it up because I was too chicken shit to do it. I'm glad you brought it up because I don't see men get labeled cozy horror ever. It
Yeah,
doesn't happen.
it's rare.
Yeah, so because I see that in a review, and I'm like, okay, but it's also scary as fuck. How come you didn't start with that? Excuse my language.
No.
That's how I feel, and yeah. Anyway, I mean, I'm glad you brought it up
Yeah.
because your books are scary.
I think it's for me, it's just like I would like to be like I've done this for a while now and I'm like, I would like to be respected. And like I think the not that it's not respectable to write cozy horror, but I think if you set out to tell a story that has like some emotional depth, like for me, Such Sharp Teeth, that story is about trauma. It's about body trauma. It's about, healing from that. And it's like, yeah, there's like a romance B plot, but like it's also about something pretty intense. And so I think that's where it kind of like rubs for me. But um
You're going to
Yeah.
get an absolutely stellar review at Macabre Daily, and it
Uh,
will contain this book is scary as. All right. The word cozy will not, you will find it in there. Yeah, we're going to, set a new direction. This isn't spoiling the novel, or at least I hope it's not. And I'll take it out if you want me to. You do something so simple and so terrifying, and it really affected me. It's just the simple premise of waking up in your bed different from when you went in. Cleo wakes up and she's her head is at the foot of the bed. And you're reading it the first time and you're just like, oh, all right, what's going on here? And then when she wakes up, by the time she wakes up on the floor, I was ready to move out of my house, Rachel. What are you doing? I mean, it's just this simple little premise, but it's the fear that I have, and I know the readers are going to have it as well, of the routine, and then you wake up, you're startled to wake up, and things are immediately different. And it's such a simple premise, but it scares me so much.
well, I also feel like it's one of those things where you can kind of justify it.
Yes.
But kind of until it gets to the point that you really can't. And I think that's always what I kind of, again, your characters don't know they're in a horror novel. And Cleo a little bit does, because of like her mom basically wrote
she can only rationalize so far.
But she's also somebody who, like, denial is such an important part of that family, and like controlling a narrative. And that's why I made her an influencer and a stylist, because she's controlling her image so closely and controlling the narrative of her life so closely, because she saw what happened to her mom when she lost control. So yeah, I think the denial there is like, well, I have to cling to my image. And so, like, if this is really happening, what does that mean? What does that mean about my family? What does that mean about my life? What does that mean about my mother, who I lost, who I didn't speak to for, 20 years? And so it's kind of this domino effect. So I was trying to go in with a light touch in the beginning. And that's one of those things where it's freaky, but like, you can kind of be like, well, I'm in a new environment. Like, what happened? Because I feel like everybody at one point has woken up in bed and you're like, how did I get over here? Or like, why is this pillow down there? But like the thing where it's like one step too far that you can't justify. How did this happen?
Yeah. I mean, look, the novel is so layered. Hold it up again without my sausage away. So layered, and it, I don't want to say it sneaks up on you, because, you're purposefully taking us on this journey with Cleo, and it is a new environment. And by the way, the relationship between her and Austin, I love. And that dynamic is great because, she's surrounded by family and there's so much history there. And then she's unpacking all these questions with her mom. And then to have somebody who's kind of like a blank slate, not that they present that way,
right,
but someone as almost like a sounding board. I just thought it added to the novel. It was great. There at that point, it's kind of like, and I mean this in the best way possible, the Scooby-Doo mystery of it all.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out together. So, and you write relationships, they are so real and they feel so lived in. Again, I mean, this is now turning into that Chris Farley sketch where I'm like, remember that time you wrote a great novel? That was
yeah. Listen, I'll take it. My ego's like, yes, please.
I cannot wait for this to be released, because I know what I'm going to write. I have read some reviews, because I do a little research.
Yeah.
I just see what people are saying, but I think that it's going to be, you better be ready. That's all I'm going to say.
We'll see. I mean, I don't want to think too far ahead. It's going to be what it's going to be. Like, I can't control it from here on out. So
I'll do it for you. I think you better be ready. Oh my goodness. Okay. So that leads me to a couple of questions, and then I promise we'll wrap this up. Any chance of this being optioned or any talk of it? Because this is inherently cinematic.
I am trying to move that Hollywood needle. I'm trying to move it. So I'm doing everything that I can on my part to set my books up to be in a good place for that to happen. So I would love for it. I would really love for it.
I mean, pick a Rachel Harrison novel that couldn't immediately go to the screen, but this, I mean, Play Nice is just like, it's so ready. It's already, and honestly, I would love to see a series. I think there's enough here where you could have, like an 8-episode limited series. And I mean, I would just dine out on every one. Okay. So that's enough prying. I'll leave you alone about that, but I'll be watching for it. And I definitely think it's going to happen. Okay. What do you have coming up that, as far as promotion for the novel, that Macabre Daily can help with and that we can promote for you?
Oh, well, that's very kind. I am going on tour. I'm going on a big old tour for this novel. It starts on September 8th in Dallas, Texas.
All right.
And then I'm going to Indiana and St. Louis and Plainville, Massachusetts, and New York City, Beacon, New York,
Okay.
Philly, and then Atlanta, Nashville, LA, and Utah.
How long is the tour?
So it's pretty much 3 weeks.
Okay.
And then I've got some other stuff in the fall, but yeah, that's the big thing. That's the big promotion is just I'll be out there and that the book is out there and I hope people pick it up.
All right. Well, look, I promise you that I'll look at the dates and we'll just promote your dates. Where are you going to be in New York?
The Strand.
Perfect.
With Clay McLeod Chapman and Nat Cassidy. So it's going to be a crazy event.
Rachel, you're judged by the company you keep. Two bad boys who do bad things together. Now that's fantastic. Are you kidding me? What's the date on that?
Friday, September 12th.
Damn, I'm going to be front and center. I'll be there. I'll be there. Are you kidding me? I'm talking to Clay on Wednesday for Acquired Taste. And then I'm trying to coordinate with Nat because I didn't get a chance to talk to him for When the Wolf Comes Home. But Nat being Nat, he's the nicest guy in the world. And he's like, who cares, man? We'll talk, just let me know when you want to talk. So trying to get those two guys too.
He'll come on.
I mean, you have those two bookends. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, you're in good company there.
They're my buds. It'll be, I don't know what they're planning. They were like, how crazy can we get? And I was like, anybody else, I'd be like, let's go crazy. But you two, like, I got to put a cap on it because I don't know where it could possibly go.
Did you see them in Astoria when they were talking about When the Wolf Comes Home and they had the werewolf masks on?
Yeah, that tracks. I would not be surprised if they show up in costume.
Well, I kind of hope because I'll be there now. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so I promise that we will promote the heck out of the tour. Of course, I'll let you know when this interview is going to post. You're going to get an absolute love letter for a review with Macabre Daily, and honestly, you've earned every single bit of it because you are just one of the most exciting authors out there.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
You got it. I can't wait until we can talk again.
Yeah, I'll see you in New York.
I'll see you in New York. I'll be like, remember me? I was the guy.
I'll remember you.
Rachel, thanks again. Sean O'Connor from Macabre Daily. Rachel Harrison, Play Nice. Pre-order this book and read it. And you know what? I'll say it for you. Rachel, you're welcome. Have a great night. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.